Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, everybody, along with G. Bush and Jason Lloyd. I'm Adam the Bull, and let me tell you, the Browns are dealing with some serious injuries as they're dealing with a 3-10 record. How will it affect this game this week? We shall see. That's coming up. Jason.
I'm Jason Lloyd. Pre-written headlines. We're going to tell you everything that's going to happen in the game before it even happens. You won't even have to watch, and you may not want to. G.
This is G. Bush, and this is the Christmas green. If you want this, you can order it at XPX45 on QVC. But besides that, I'm going to let you guys know what young guys I'm looking to look after to see who are going to ball in this game. McNuggets?
I don't know how to follow. Did you just give it a QVC code on UCSS? I don't know how to follow. All I can tell you is we broke down Jameis's 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions from last week's game with Sean King. And we all came in on Monday and said, Jameis, what the heck are you doing? Sean King has a little different perspective on it. Very interested to see how you guys react to his breakdown.
Sean King thinks he's the next MVP of the league, I think.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, welcome on Channel 3 WKYC. If you've never seen us before, where you been? Check us out on YouTube every weekday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. A lot to talk about with the Browns today, Mikey.
What's the blueprint
for
the Browns to come out with a victory on Sunday against the Chiefs? What has to happen? What has to unfold for the Browns to give Kansas City just its second loss of the season?
Guys, I know that the Chiefs haven't been as smooth as in some years past, but they're still the best team in football till proven otherwise. And I think ultimately, we could come up with whatever game plan you want to try to slow down Mahomes. Yes, statistically, he's not having an amazing season this year. But the bottom line is the Browns have to score to win. It sounds obvious, but they're going to need to. We talked in the YouTube show how they've only scored 3 touchdowns in a game 3 times this year, all with Jameis. 3 out of 6 with him, 0 out of 7 for Deshaun Watson. If they don't score at least 3 touchdowns in this game, they will definitely lose.
Yeah, I think this game comes down to something simple. Good game, Jameis, or bad game, Jameis? Good game, Jameis gives you 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, over 300 yards. I think he's averaging over 300 yards in each of one of his starts if you average the yardage. But listen, if you get Jameis Winston and he can hit a couple big plays to Jerry Jeudy, who's sneakily having one of the best seasons of his career, and is on pace to have a great season, almost 1,100, 1,200 yards, if he continues this pace. I think a Jameis Winston that's limiting turnovers, I'm not going to say he can't have any turnovers because that's just not what is going to happen. He's going to throw one. He's going to get the ball away. But if you get 3 touchdowns, if you can get the team behind you and you can get the ball to Jerry Jeudy and score a big touchdown, I think that Jameis Winston can ride that momentum, ride those good vibes. And this is a game for the Chiefs where you should be a little fearful. The Browns are 3-10, doesn't have much to lose. But guess what? They're going to throw the football. I think they'll throw the football a lot. Jameis will have an opportunity. If he gets hot, he's one of them players that can snowball, Jason.
I don't think the Chiefs are fearful of anybody, but
No. We've talked about it on the YouTube show today. We had Darren Smith from Kansas City, and I've talked about it all year long. The NFL will give you whatever you want between the 20s. You can throw for all the yards you want. You can have all the trick plays. What do you do when you get in the red zone? 6s win games, 3s lose it. And that's one of the big keys for me. We saw it against Denver. The Browns went 3 for 3 in red zone opportunities against the Broncos and still lost the game because of turnovers. Win the turnover battle on Sunday. Kansas City will give the ball away as well. The Browns have got to win the turnover battle, and you have to get pressure on Mahomes. You have to take risks defensively. And if that means you get beaten man coverage, so be it. But if you just stand back and be conservative and let them chew you up, that's exactly what Patrick Mahomes is going to do. Dial up some blitzes, play cover 0 at times if you have to, play man coverage on the outside, take your chances one-on-one. It's really the only way, I believe, to beat the Chiefs.
It's not good when 2 of your next 4 sack guys behind Myles Garrett are either out for the year with injury or traded.
Yeah.
And Dalvin Tomlinson, I think he gets all his sacks in one game every year.
Basically, yeah.
pretty much, and then we don't hear from him again.
Yeah, here's the thing about defense. I know Jim Schwartz doesn't want to bring that much pressure. I know he wants to run forward, run man coverage on the back end. But listen, you don't have the horses that you used to have to get after you with the front four. He's going to have to break tendency a little bit. And look, like Jason said in the YouTube show, if they beat us deep, okay. But we got to do something to get Patrick Mahomes uncomfortable, because if they just come back and let Patrick Mahomes just, dink and dunk and get into a rhythm, this can be a long night.
If you leave him comfortable in the pocket, let him pick you apart.
Right.
That's exactly what he's going to do.
It's the only time he's ever struggled is when his pressure. I mean, you can't win a game against Patrick Mahomes when there's no pressure on him. You just can't, because he's too good a quarterback. He's eventually going to make a play to beat you, no matter who the talent around him is. Go ahead, Mike.
Let's talk about some young guys who are fighting for roster spots.
Yeah.
Shelby Harris in Hard Knocks said you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. And there's going to be some young guys who haven't got a ton of opportunities to play, getting a chance to prove that they're part of the long-term plans for the Browns. Which ones are you guys most excited to see get some extended playing time here on Sunday against the Chiefs?
Well, based on what Mike just told us during the YouTube show, go back and watch what he had to say about Isaiah McGuire and some of the stats that he had. Pro Football ranked him as his best game of the season and one of the best defensive ends coming off Sunday. Now, the numbers from Sunday's game don't support necessarily the grade, but with defensive end spots are a little tricky, and you don't always have the stats. But McGuire obviously has a big opportunity in front of him now after the trade with Detroit to clear a spot for him. So he's going to get the reps, he's going to get the snaps, and we'll see what he puts on tape for the last month of the season. That'll determine really his standing on this team, I think, going forward.
Yeah, I like that pick. Another young guy on defense, Diabate. I think his name has been thrown around a little bit. I think he's flashed a little bit, has tremendous speed, has tremendous quickness. JOK, the unfortunate part about JOK is we don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah.
We don't know if he's going to be able to be back. We don't know what's going on, serious neck injury. So there's a void left in the middle of that defense, and Diabate has done a pretty good job of stepping up and filling those shoes. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they can get him on the edge, maybe get him home on a sack or two, but just seeing how he plays against Patrick Mahomes. Because at this point, I'm looking for some guys to project to next year. It's all about putting that good film on tape and watching these new guys so I can say, okay, well, let's see who we got to go draft to replace. Shelby Harris talked about it. Either you're going to get replaced by somebody or they're going to have to move on to another situation and say, well, we got something from next year.
Yeah, he's been one of the few bright spots surprise bright spots in what's been an otherwise miserable season. Cedric Tillman's coming off a miserable injury with a concussion, but from the time Jameis started playing till the time he got his concussion, Cedric Tillman was playing very well and seemed to be stepping nicely into that wide receiver 2 role as Jerry Jeudy emerged as the wide receiver 1. The Browns have done overall a terrible job, I was going to say in recent years, but really in their entire history, they've pretty much done a terrible job in drafting wide receivers. And, early this season it was looking like Cedric Tillman was in the long line of third-round wide receivers for this team that would just be nothing and then gone in a few years. But I thought Tillman showed some real signs of life before this concussion, and I'm fascinated to see what he can do in the final 4 games of the year. I don't know if it's officially been declared that he's back, but he's been practicing. When you practice following a concussion, when you've been off a couple of weeks, usually you get back. So I'm assuming he's going to play this week, and I look forward to that. Sean King joins us on the show every week. The former NFL quarterback, as you know, has been very high on the play of Jameis Winston. In this week's edition of Quarterback Breakdowns, he looks at touchdowns and the interceptions thrown by Jameis this past week against Pittsburgh.
It's frustrating for me because the narrative around Jameis is he turns the ball over. He puts the ball in harm's way. And let's check this down. Listen, I'd rather say whoa than sick 'em when we're talking regarding the game of football. So go ahead and roll it, Mikey. Look at Elijah. He does a good job winding. Right there, Elijah's got to drop his hips and explode.
Certainly, it's clear that first interception, Sean is Mike, that I just noticed for the first time now. Now, I don't know why this was the case, but if you look at it from the sideline view, he said, well, who's faster? Why is Njoku ahead of him? Elijah Moore lined up 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. If you look at the snap, David Njoku starts 2 yards ahead of Elijah Moore, and Elijah Moore, as Sean King pointed out, had to make like a little cut. By the time the ball is thrown, Elijah Moore is only 1 yard behind Njoku. So I don't necessarily buy that one that he wasn't running hard enough because he made up ground on Njoku.
You know what we had Bernie on the YouTube show yesterday, and he kind of alluded to the same thing.
He did. That's true too.
He said, on that route, he wants him to get there and get vertical and get there. Like, here's the thing. I think more of anything, it's a timing issue, and I think what that illustrates is sometimes we can think it's a really horrible. He has to be more conscious of putting the ball in harm's way.
Mike?
I played, to Jason's point, when I played college basketball, we had a guy on our team who always hit back rim. Always, when his 3-point shot, always hit back rim. He's like, I'm right there, and our coach is like, no, you're just a bad shooter. Good shooters make it.
Yeah.
Bad shooters hit the back rim every time.
Yeah.
So eventually, if you keep doing something over and over and over again and get the same result, it's probably on you. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah. All right, when we come back here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, the Browns are dealing with some key injuries. Joel Bitonio, David Njoku, which would be a bigger loss for this Sunday's contest. That's coming up on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC Channel 3. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show here on WKYC Channel 3. If you haven't watched us before, please check us out on YouTube, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Guys, a couple of injuries the Browns are dealing with, new injuries this week. Joel Bitonio's banged up, although he is practicing today. David Njoku is hurt. He is not practicing today. It looks like he's not going to play. Bitonio, I'm assuming if he practices today, is probably going to play. But in theory, if they both miss the game, G, which would be the bigger loss?
Man, I'm gonna go with Bitonio. I'll say it because the thing about Jameis Winston is he's able to get the ball out. He's been able to have much better pass protection. I thought the line has played much better in the second half of the season, and I think that's just because you get Conklin back. Bitonio and Taylor have been in the lineup for the most part, and for them to be able to push the ball downfield, they're gonna need Bitonio, and they're going to need that protection. So I'm going to go ahead and say Bitonio with this one. Jerry Jeudy's been playing all right. You talked about having Cedric Tillman back, Elijah Moore. So I think there's some other pass targets. And Akins is not a bad replacement. He's not the tight end that, Njoku is, but I think he can still be a viable part of the passing game. So I'm going to say Bitonio.
I went back and forth on it. I'm going to say Njoku because I think Michael Dunn is an apt replacement. I think Dunn is probably next man up. If Bitonio can't go, he's got a ton of experience. He can play all over the line. He's versatile. But David Njoku has become sort of the safety blanket and I almost said Deshaun. James' favorite target out there. Right. And you can look at the targets every week that he gets. He's a big part of the offense. And if that's missing on top of, obviously, losing Amari from earlier on in the year. Now, if you get Ced Tillman back, that helps. And obviously, Judy's been a big weapon. But it just feels like Jameis has that when in doubt, just go to 85. Mm-hmm. And taking that away from him is a big blow to that passing game.
I think they're both big losses, but I'll break the tie and go with Joel Bitonio as well. Obviously, as you said, Njoku's getting a ton of targets, so certainly he feels very comfortable with him. Because Tillman's coming back, I'm going to say that can mitigate some of the loss of Njoku because Tillman was getting a lot of targets before he went out. So and while what's his name? Who's Dunn?
Michael Dunn.
Dunn is
it could be Zach Zinter, but I think it'll be Michael Dunn.
Dunn's probably better than Zinter right now.
At this point, he is.
But Joel Bitonio, I know he hasn't had his best season. He's getting older. He's still a Pro Bowler for a reason. I mean, and the offensive line has played better since it's been more consistent. And I think he's played better second half of the year. So Jameis needs to be protected. He's not the most mobile quarterback. And you're already shaky at left tackle. You don't want to be shaky at the entire left side. Go ahead,
Bad
Mike.
job out of all three of you. We didn't mention Chris Jones, who Bitonio's going to have to block if he's not there. And Chris Jones is as good of a defensive tackle as there is in the NFL.
Yeah, that's
pretty
true.
much he's probably the best defensive tackle in the league. On a very short list.
Fair.
Him, Dexter Lawrence, and that's probably the list.
Yeah, stop with your giant
I have
propaganda.
faith in Michael
Giants
Dunn.
thing.
I'm sticking with Njoku.
Okay.
All
right. Let's get to another topic. Obviously, Dustin Hopkins. We mentioned him briefly in the YouTube show. He's been terrible this year. Had his best year as a pro. Last year, he's having his worst year as a pro. This year, he's making about, 63% of his kicks?
Yes.
Which in the modern NFL is terrible. Last week was particularly bad. He missed 2 field goals for the season, 16 of 25, just hideous. He's gone from being super reliable last year to being completely unreliable. You don't even want to see him out there. There's a kicking competition. The Browns brought a kicker onto the practice squad. They're apparently, we all heard from Bubba Ventrone, the Browns special team coach, that they were, going to have a competition. Best man wins. A, do you expect him to play, Jason? And B, if he does play, does this competition good for him potentially? And do you feel like he'll be better this week?
I don't think he'll play this week. I think they'll probably set him for at least a week and let him catch his breath a little bit. The thing that I don't understand about NFL teams, we've talked about this before. The Ravens feel like the only team that actually takes kicking seriously and really sort of invests resources and money into actual kicking consultants and actual kicking specialists. What does Bubba Ventrone know about kicking field goals?
Nothing.
And that's not a knock on Bubba, who's widely regarded as a pretty good special teams coach. It's around the league that it's such a special niche in this game. And as many games has come down to field goals and 3-point games and last-minute kicks, and as much as NFL teams try and win on the margins, I don't understand why more teams don't take kicking seriously and bring in kicking consultants, bring in kicking coaches. There are kicking coaches around the country that's all they do is run kicking clinics and whatever else.
Yeah.
And everyone says Phil Dawson. Phil would be great. I'm not sure Phil wants to do it. But there's other guys to go get. I don't understand why more NFL teams don't invest more time and resources into kickers. So when things come up like this, like Dustin Hopkins has to feel like he's on an island right now in terms of figuring this out.
Is part of it that maybe kickers are such lone wolves that they just kind of, just because another kicker, everybody, it's a lot of it when they struggle is in their head.
It is mental. But again, if you had someone else who specializes in this.
It makes sense.
How many games do we see every week come down to a last-second kick? And teams just sort of discard the kicker like, they're not on the team. They're just a kicker.
You guys are 2 baseball guys. If they have pitching coaches, why do you, and pitching is what? Mechanics.
Yeah.
It's all about your motion. It's all about how you view the game. It's a mental aspect to it. So, kicking and pitching to me have a lot of the same, same type skill sets that are involved. And I'm with Jason. You guys are lone wolves until you bring somebody else in and say, hey, this is how you would want to do it. Let's come up with a routine and a plan so we can actually practice these things so we can make it a more routine kick. Now, I'm not sure if Hopkins is going to miss any field goals in this opportunity.
You think he's going to play?
I think he will, and I think he misses a kick.
I think he will too, but I wouldn't play him, but I think they will, and I think he'll miss a kick as well. I have no faith in him whatsoever. He looks mentally shot right now.
Get him a coach. Get him a real coach.
They should. That makes a lot of sense. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with pre-written headlines. Who's going to win the game and why? We'll tell you before it happens next on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC Channel 3. It's time for pre-written headlines. Let's start with G. Bush.
Listen, I've been very optimistic. As you see, I got the Christmas green on, but I'm not so optimistic about this game. Close, but no cigar, man. Browns play well, but fall to the Chiefs 31-28. No Christmas gifts. No Christmas gifts for the Browns. But James does throw for over 300 yards.
Okay.
Bull, you're up.
I'm up. Let's go. I have the Browns losing and not that close. I know the Chiefs haven't covered very often. I think they do. Hometown boy turns Browns blue. Travis Kelce's, I can't even read it. Travis Kelce's 112 yards and 2 touchdowns lead Chiefs to convincing 27-13 win over the Browns. I have a feeling that the Chiefs are going to beat up the Browns this week. I haven't felt that way about the Browns very often this year. After what I heard about the locker room wasn't I don't know. I think the Browns may fall apart here.
Vacation, right?
I'm a little worried about it.
1, 2, 3, Cancun.
Yeah. Jason?
I'm so ashamed of myself.
Oh, no.
Oh, he picked it. Let's
I'm
go.
sorry. No, it's worse than that. I'm so sorry for what I'm about to do.
Oh, boy.
Shake it off! Little Tay-Tay. Chiefs continue Brown's cruel winter with 27-14 victory. I don't know.
Is that one of her songs?
Shake it off. Yeah, shake it off.
So Jason, who was complaining about it, puts Taylor Swift
It's
in the headline.
all about me. I don't want it to interfere with my day. As long as it doesn't interfere with my day, I don't
Then it
care if
doesn't
she's there or
bother
not.
So you think like her security and whatever could get in your way?
It's all about me.
Yeah,
It's really,
fair.
I only care about me.
I got you. All right, Mike, wrap it up.
All right, I'm actually picking the Browns. How about Browns bring the birthday blues? I think this is the NFL makes no sense game. Miles and Ward spoils Casey's chances of clinching the 1 seed and Taylor's birthday weekend in a 23-20 dub. This makes no sense. I have no reason for picking this other than I have a weird gut feeling the Browns play well on Sunday.
We know Sean King loves talking about pushing narratives. Mike's been pushing the narrative that this would be one of the biggest upsets. And it would be a big upset.
would.
I think we already saw it when the Browns beat the Steelers here.
I mean, it's a 4.5 point spread. It's not, 16 points. The Ravens lose, that's a crazy upset. We'll see you Monday on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Peace.